Hello and welcome back to another update. As I cover the latest developments throughout the front line, we see that the latest developments in the Ukrainian war is that we see the Russian forces advancing to the northwest of Staromayorsk. Here they're looking to flank the Ukrainian positions within the village as they want to go around from the heights here to the northwest of Staromayorsk. They look to push towards the northern parts, get direct fire control over the roads, and push towards Rivnopil before moving towards Makarivka, Staromayorsk, and flanking the Ukrainian positions here. Similar to how in the eastern parts they still hold the fortified areas to the northeast of Urushaina, here they'll likely look to get direct fire control on the road towards Urushaina from Baldatne, cutting off the supplies from the northern side. With this, they'll be able to cut off the supplies to the north of Staromayorsk and Urushaina, and then siege the villages here in the area. So we are looking at a possible Russian operation here in the southern parts by the Veremetsky Ledge to try and negate some of the advancements the Ukrainians made during their offensive. We then move to the Avdiivka area where we here see that there's a lot of fighting ongoing, with the only territorial changes being here to the west of Krasnoarivka, where the Russian forces managed to capture the forest lines here to the west of the village, as well as the roads here to the west and to the north of the forest patches. So with this, we see that the Russian forces are now crossing over the railways and are now threatening Stepove and Berdishi, and they're likely going to be launching their attacks towards the hills here to the north of Stepove and Berdishi, after which they will start pressuring the villages, both of them. So we are seeing a continuous fighting by Avdiivka with heavy shelling within the city itself and the surrounding villages as the Russian forces continue their pressure on it. However, there doesn't seem to be many assaults per se, more smaller local areas where they launch a few armored vehicles and a lot of infantry to try and advance bit by bit and get better positions so that once they are able to reach closer, they are able to then pressure the supply lines in and out of the Avdiivka. According to a DPR soldier on the ground within the area of Avdiivka, he claims that most of the soldiers fighting is similar to that of the Bakhmut fight, where we're seeing a lot of former Wagner soldiers, Stormset units, and other Russian units of the DPR section. With that, we see that it is not a lot of the Russian official army, but the adapted forces to the army, such as the DPR forces being adapted after the annexation, and the Stormset units being adapted after the Wagner fighting in Bakhmut, and then Wagner units returning after the fall of Bakhmut and the death of Prigozhin. So with this, we see that it is a brought together group of different groupings now considered an official part of the Russian army, with the former Wagner forces joining the Rusguards via units of the Russian army, and the DPR forces being an official part of the Russian army after the annexation. And with the Stormset units being a part of the Russian army, we now have these different groupings together forming one force in the direction of Avdiivka. There is also an additional force of Russian soldiers being brought to this part of the front line as they're building up additional forces to reinforce the now fighting soldiers by the front in Avdiivka. And that is going to be all for this update. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.